Hello everyone, welcome to another live video from Northern Affinity. As usual, we're across our various platforms. Now, probably most people are aware there's been various security issues have been very big in the news at the moment. They're quite a big hot topic, whether it's around things like Zoom or phishing emails and text. But one big area for security for a lot of businesses is to do with their website. Now, there's a lot of questions to ask. How secure is it? And I suppose the biggest question is, what are the consequences if it goes wrong? So I'm pleased to say I'm with Phil here from Glow. It's an area that you can definitely help us with. So as always, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, Phil. So if you want to kind of explain quickly who you are and what you do in terms of what Glow is, and then we'll kind of go into a few questions just generally about all things website and security.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Mike. This is great. First time we've done a live video on social media, I think. So hopefully I'll be coherent throughout. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Website security security generally online is massive, isn't it? And probably coming more and more to the fore as time moves on. But yeah, your website's no different. It's extremely important to keep it secure. So my company is called Glow, and Glow is a unique app for website maintenance. And of course, part of website maintenance, keeping a site performing well over time, is making sure that it's secure, so that anytime anybody tries to access it or use it in any way, you as the owner of that website can be confident that it's being used in a secure manner. So we work with businesses of all shapes and sizes. So any business that has a website, basically, which is hopefully the majority of businesses out there. And then we also work with agencies as well. So agencies can kind of work with Glow and offer the service to their clients as well. So yeah, I'm quite excited about it. We've only just launched our app as well, which is great. So
fantastic. Now, just quickly first ask you about the kind of current situation, and have you noticed any big changes all around websites and security and all that kind of thing? Is anything that's really changed apart from what the usual threats, I guess?
Well, you hear the news of the big companies, like it was obviously Zoom were caught out from a privacy point of view, which obviously kind of links into looking at how secure their platform is. But in terms of the websites that we look after for businesses, nothing kind of majorly new that's happened because of the situation. I think what we have noticed generally with the companies that we support is that activity generally on websites has been greater. I think it's probably because business owners, who are primarily the people that we deal with, it's the owner of the business usually that we're talking to, or the marketing director if it's a bigger business. They're all at home, obviously, aren't they at the moment? They're not in a busy office space being pulled from pillar to post by other people. So they seem to be focusing quite a bit more on website digital presence generally. So we have a ticket system for login requests, as you know, Mike. So that in particular has been far busier than it normally is. So I think we're just generally seeing quite a bit more activity, which is great. But we have things in place to remind people how to keep sites secure. And you might have seen me knocking about recently on other kind of chats online, talking about things that you can do to kind of make your website a bit more secure as well, if you're spending time thinking about it more at the moment, which, like I said, a lot of people are. So
absolutely. One thing I didn't mention, is that if anyone wants to ask any questions on the platforms, please do. I'm sure Phil will try to answer them, and if we can't, we can always answer them afterwards. But yes, if anyone's got any questions, please do put them forward, put them in the chat, and we'll try and answer them. So kind of relating to what you do, one thing I always find interesting is finding out what goes wrong if people don't do what they should do. So with a website, if you haven't got the right security, I don't know whether you've got some examples, protecting the innocent and all that stuff, or just kind of generally what could go wrong for people on their website.
Yeah, well, I could probably sit here all week and talk to you about examples that I've got, Mike. But yeah, it's a very real thing. It does happen. I mean, it's at the end of the day, your website is technology, isn't it? And we all know technology does go wrong from time to time. These things can creep in. But obviously, with your website that's 24/7 online representing your business, you want to make sure that it's always okay. I think one of the best in inverted commas examples I can think of recently would be we were referred to a company So they weren't a client of ours, but they got referred to us because they were in a bit of a sticky situation. So if you're watching this and you can imagine the dodgiest website that you can think of online, we all know what we're thinking of. And now imagine that your website is diverting to that one anytime anybody tries to access it. So they've done a Google search, or I don't know, they've been referred to you by somebody that you already know, or whatever. And then you come and try and access that site, and they're getting diverted off elsewhere. It's a horrible situation. That's exactly what happened to this client that we got referred to. So we were called in to do what's called a hack investigation piece of work. So we looked into the site to have a look at why this had happened, how it had been hacked, when it happened, and obviously why this was happening, basically. So it was entirely down to the fact that they hadn't been keeping up to date with the security aspects of their website, which is actually, if you know what you're doing, which of course we do, that's a pretty straightforward thing to do, and there's extra measures that we can put in place if they're not there already. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that, look, if you've got a WordPress website, if you've heard of WordPress, then yeah, it's great. It's not surprising. It accounts for about a third of the entire internet. If not, it's kind of it's a system for you to kind of build a website with, effectively. But it's very susceptible to being hacked. So you need to make sure that it's kept secure, and there's various things that you can do to make sure that happens. So yeah, there's lots of examples I could come up with, but that's probably the best / worst one I can think of at the moment, I think. Yeah. Yeah,
it's very much a reputational risk, isn't it? The issue that.
It is.
You can always build a new website or start again, but for that period, the damage that's potentially done to your brand could be quite.
Well, that's the thing. And obviously, and obviously, you might be maintaining your own site at the moment. And again, if it's WordPress, you might have that kind of setup where, I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, updating something from a security perspective on WordPress can often be a click of a button, which is fine. Everybody can click a button, but it's when that then triggers something else that you don't then understand in terms of how to fix it, which is when you get yourself into a bit of a pickle, and all sorts of things can happen. And the brand reputation, like you say, that's an absolute shocker if something like that's happening, isn't it? So
absolutely. So for us non-technical type people, what kind of basic steps could we take to help your website? I know I appreciate that there's no list that's definite and final, but what kind of really basic, easy steps could any of us do to help?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's a few I could probably think of just off the top of my head. The first one would be to install what's called a security certificate on your site, and if you don't know what that is, the easiest way to know if you have one or not is if you log onto your website now. So open your site, and you're looking for that little padlock in the top left corner, in your browser. So rough rule of thumb, if the padlock is there, you're okay. The site's secure. I won't go into the finer detail of that, but roughly speaking, if the padlock's there, pretty secure. But if it isn't, it's very easy to tell, because browsers have changed now in that it will actually tell you if it isn't secure. So it will say not secure in the top left corner. Now, that used to be kind of reserved for e-commerce websites, so websites where you pay and buy something from the site, like Amazon, for example. So previously they were the only sites where you really had this kind of padlock secure setup. But it was about probably coming up to 2 years ago, I think now. The marketing guys will be able to tell you better, but Google started looking at it as a factor in terms of where to rank your website on Google. Is it secure? Is it not? So it'll kind of compare you to sites that are or sites that aren't, if you are secure. So security certificate would definitely be the first place I would start. So whoever hosts your website or whoever maintains it, looks after it for you, then your web developer probably first port of call there, speak to them and make sure that they have added a security certificate if you're not sure, or if they haven't, then get that added. And basically what that does is any data that is entered into the website basically gets encrypted, so turned into gobbledygook, so people can't kind of access that information. So if you think about the sorts of info that you might enter into your site, it could be, I don't know, the username and password to log into the back of the site, or I don't know, sensitive information that's being filled in an inquiry form that you're asking people to fill out. All that sort of stuff gets encrypted if you've got this certificate in place. So there's varying levels of costs for certificates. There are free ones. There's ones that will cost you 100 quid a year, 50 quid a year. It depends where you go, really. So, but I would definitely start there. That's kind of the first place, I think. If you have a website where there is a login system, so if you've got a WordPress site, then you will have a login area to kind of access the sort of admin area of the site. We've probably all been told, well, we have all been told, we're blue in the face about strong passwords. So if you've got any kind of admin access, please don't set your password as password123 or Michael Edwards !
You'll be giving
yeah. But it's funny, but people do it. My brother bloody sent me one. I think it was yesterday. He set something up for something he wants integrated into the site, and so he's bought a subscription for something. But the password is just so easy to guess. So really make your passwords dead strong, because it's just such an easy way into whatever system you've got. Obviously, in this case, it's your website. It's such an easy way in for a hacker to get if the password's easy. So a lot of times nowadays, you'll see it gives you like a strength indicator when you're setting your passwords. So as you're typing in the characters, it's sort of telling you how strong it is as you're typing it. So that's quite helpful as a kind of a benchmark. So definitely make your passwords ridiculously difficult to guess, basically. Again, if you've got a WordPress site, you can change the login to the site. Usually when you're logging into a WordPress site, it will be, mywebsite.com/WP admin. Now, every hacker in the world knows that the default login to a WordPress website is /WP admin. So if you don't change that, then that's the first line of defense already been smashed through. So they're dead. And then if you've got a weak password, they're into that as well. So you can see how this all starts kind of adding layers on in terms of making it harder and harder for these guys to get in. So it's pretty straightforward to kind of change that default login and just change it to something that, no one's ever going to guess it in a million years. It's nothing to do with your business. So it's not /the Northern Affinity or, /Michael Edwards. Make it something completely unrelated. So there's nothing kind of within the fabric of the site that hackers could kind of try and pinch and guess. So change that default login, secure password, security certificate. They're the three that have popped into my head back this morning. But like you said, there's plenty more that you could kind of take a look at.
Absolutely. Reminder, if anyone's got any questions or comments, please let us know. We've had one from Karen Amos. I think she picked up on your statement there, which is a fair point. If you know what you're doing is the key. I think that obviously that's relatable to anything, not just websites. I think it's relatable to everybody. I guess there's issues that can go wrong if you don't do it correctly. So it's so I wanted to kind of move on slightly from security, but generally maybe about websites. From a technical point of view, I guess, what do you think makes a good website? What maybe common errors do you see on websites that might probably frustrate you with being someone doing what you do?
From a technical point of view, it's a good question. I think the first thing that popped to my mind was speed, because we're all used to accessing websites on our phones these days, and particularly if you're the audience for your business is a B2C, so business to consumer, then it's likely that the kind of percentage of the traffic to your website that's from mobiles is 60 to 70%, so very, very high portion of your audience using your website on their mobiles. And obviously on a mobile, they might be, I don't know, walking through the street on a 4G connection. So it's, making sure that your site loads quickly is very, very important. And again, a bit like the security certificate that I talked about earlier, it's quite a strong ranking signal on Google that they look at your page speed. So is it loading quickly? Because if you try and think about it from Google's point of view, when you're doing a search, they want to then return a set of results to you that is, a credible list of resources for the information that you're looking for. And if they're returning, a list of 10 websites of which they all take 15 seconds to load, it's not a good user experience, is it? So Google aren't creating the best impression there. So they do look at site speed. So I'm not going to go into the technical ins and outs of making websites faster, but I think probably the best takeaway for anybody watching this for trying to make some improvements to site speed would be images, because obviously they can be quite big files. And we see this all the time. So although we provide maintenance on client sites, quite a lot of our clients do still, administer things like the blog. So they'll write a blog post in WordPress and then they'll add some images to it as well. But we often see the images that they add are really big files. And that can really slow down a page if you've got 2 or 3, high resolution image files. So I think if you can try and keep your image files below 100 kilobytes, so say 100 KB next to it, if you can get that kind of size or lower, I think that would be a good start. But it's a common one that we see a lot of. So technical aspects in terms of a good site, we obviously want them to be quick. I think call to actions are obviously they're very, very important. So a call to action is, as it sounds, it's where you're asking somebody to take action on the site. But try and make them nice and relevant. So I don't know, they're reading one of your blogs. An obvious call to action on your blog would be, share this blog on Facebook or share this blog on LinkedIn, or it might be sign up to our newsletter. So that's a call to action. So you're getting them to do something in the first place by reading the blog, and then you're asking them to take the next step, which is whatever that might be for you in your business, basically. But really kind of put a lot of thought into that, particularly on that first screen that you land on. So obviously it's often the homepage that people find first. And they're so often sort of wasted on websites. So you'll see things like, welcome to our website, which, as if no one's welcome kind of thing. Yeah. So, there's so many kind of wasted bits of information on sites that we see. So try and think in a bit more detail behind actually, that first screen, kind of hitting them in the face with, this is who we are, and this is why you want to work with us and not competitor A or B. So really be trying quite succinct with that, and kind of immediately hit them with it, and then a call to action. So, okay, this is why we're so great. Now what? So that button might be read more, or I don't know, view pricing, or contact us, inquire here, whatever it is. So I think, go away and have a look at your site, and please make sure it doesn't say welcome to our website.
I can check that out now.
That's a good point.
One last thing I was going to ask you, obviously you mentioned about Glow and the app that you've now got. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what it is and kind of how you work with? You mentioned other companies as well as kind of the direct end user. Just kind of gives a bit of an overview on that. Yeah,
happily. Yeah. So Glow is kind of a culmination of years worth of delivering website maintenance as a service, really. So for people that know me best, it's been over a number of kind of different businesses that I've been involved in. But so kind of over that time, it's about 6 or 7 years we've been delivering it as a service to our clients. So we've done it by email, done it by phone call. Obviously, we've had conversations with different clients in terms of how to improve the service over the years. We've done surveys, meetings, everything you can think of to try and make the service better and better. And like I said, that's culminated in Glow, which genuinely is a unique app. It doesn't really exist anywhere else. The parts of it exist in isolation in other products, but all in one place, it doesn't really exist anywhere. So that's why we're really excited about it. But it's effectively, it's an app for you to keep track of how your website is being maintained. So this is from we call it our end client's point of view. So the companies whose websites we're managing. So it gives you like a full activity timeline of everything that's been happening on the site. Because I think websites and website maintenance and a lot of things that are kind of digital in the digital space, I think for the end client, they can often be a bit overwhelming and certainly not very well understood. So the client can definitely be forgiven for kind of thinking, well, I'm not really sure what I'm paying for here. I can't sort of see anything, if that makes sense. And particularly around website security, like the vast majority of our clients haven't got a clue what a plugin is on a website, so they're not going to be like, I wonder if that SEO plugin's been updated. They're not going to know that. So what this timeline does basically within the app, it just gives them a very, very clear outline of exactly what's happening on the site in terms of how we're maintaining it. So any piece of work that's been done, anything you've asked us to do, all gets recorded. There's a full ticket system in there, so a support ticket system, which you may or may not be used to. You know, other places online have a similar sort of setup. So I don't know, if you've got an issue with something or you need something changing or adding onto the site, then there's a full support ticket system built into the app as well. And there's lots of other features coming in the future. But yeah, generally speaking, it's just a great way to kind of record everything that's being done and receive help on the site. So that's kind of for our end clients. And then, yeah, like you said, Mike, we've got this reseller model as well as part of the app. So we work with quite a few marketing agencies now who basically they can white label our app and deliver the service to their clients as well. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity for any business that's a marketing agency, creative agency, even IT companies we've got signed up now as well. So they're in a sort of a similar space to us, but they don't offer website maintenance to clients. So what they can do is white label Glow, obviously sell the service as part of what they're already doing to their clients, and then our team actually deliver the service in the background for them. So it's kind of a good sort of extra revenue generator for those agencies without having to do any work ongoing. So yeah, I've never launched an app before. It's quite a thing. Yeah, in terms of everything that's got to go with it. But yeah, so I'm a busy man at the moment, but it's exciting times. So
brilliant, Phil. And then just finally, if anyone who's watching this, whether live or back on the various channels that will be on, if they want to contact you or find out more about Glow, where's kind of the best places to start?
Well, you can find me very easily on LinkedIn. So obviously search Phil Storey, and then hopefully I'll come up near the top of your list. You can go directly to the website as well. So our website is www.getglow.io. So that's .io at the end. Yeah, and all the information that I've kind of talked about just then is available on the site, obviously. But yeah, you might want to start with searching for me on LinkedIn. That's totally cool.
Brilliant, thanks, Phil. And like I say, if anybody can't find Phil for whatever reason, do contact us as well. We've got all the details to pass on, so that's absolutely fine. So yeah, well, thank you very much for your time, Phil. Really appreciate it. Really good information, and I'm sure that's really helped. So yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Phil.
Cheers, guys.